What is the funniest thing a doctor ever said to you? Story 1. My husband had an enormous inguinal hernia, a hernia that goes into the testicle. When his doctor saw it, he actually dropped his professionalism and blurted out, "Oh my God, what is that?" Which is funny now, but at the time was a little bit disconcerting. Story 2. Had a nasty throat and tonsil infection and went to the doctor, who looked in my throat and went, "Ew, that looks gross." I said, "Is that your professional opinion?" And he says, "Yep, that's the grossest thing I've seen in weeks. Ow!" He was a super nice doctor, and I knew he was just joking. He then gave me some nice meds and sent me on my way. And it really did look very gross. Story 3. I smashed my left pinky toe into a door frame, hurt like a mother. Went and got it x-rayed and yep, fractured. A month later, I'm at a routine podiatrist visit and my toe is swollen, purple, and the toenail is black. I'm explaining to the doc that I fractured it. He looks closely at my mangled little piggy and says seriously, "Yeah, you're gonna lose that toe." What? In about 3 seconds, I went through shock of losing a toe, acceptance of losing a toe, and determination to continue living without a toe when the doctor says, "Sorry, I mean toenail. You're going to lose that toenail." Ah! Story 4. Didn't say anything, but I had finger surgery to have a piece of metal wire places in my finger. I wake up from surgery to the surgeon being gone, but he had taped a Polaroid X-ray of my finger post-op to my hand. It was an amusing way to wake up. Story 5. My regular gynecologist was called away, so I had a man instead of my usual lady. That's always a little awkward anyway, but when I told him I was getting married soon, he yelled, "I love, let me see the ring." So while my feet were in the stirrups and he was down there doing whatever he was doing, I had to hold my hand down so he could look at it. Story 6. My wife and I had our child late in life and knew we were going to be one and done, so a vasectomy was going to happen. Where I live, you need a doctor's referral to get one. Coincidentally, my appointment to get said referral was the same week that I started my paternal leave. At my appointment, Doc walks into the room and says, "You've been on pat leave for 2 days, and you already want a vasectomy?" Story 7. Taking son into respiratory clinic to get tested for asthma, and he was worried about shots. I said to the doctor, "No shots today, right?" Without missing a beat, he goes, "Not for him, but I could probably rustle up a couple of glasses and some tequila." We had never been to this doctor before, but he was awesome. Story 8. Not doctor, but first time I went to my current dentist and he examined my teeth. It went something like this. Dentist: "Oh, looks like you still have all 4 wisdom teeth." Me: "You never got them pulled." D: "Yay, and you don't need to. You have a lot of space back there. You actually have a really wide jaw." Me: "Haha, thanks." D: "No, it's not bad. It's just your whole head is really big." He seemed really excited about my wide jaw and big head. Story 9. Doctor pulled up my lab tests on the monitor. This was back when they were still formatted for DOS patient data systems and just basically white text on a black screen. He was paging down and a section came up on the screen which was bright red text and had a box made of asterisks around it. He said, "Wow!" Startled, "Is that bad?" Doctor: "I've never seen a result like this before." Me: Doctor: "I didn't even think this system could use color or make boxes." Me: Oh, okay, so it's nothing bad then?" Doctor: "Oh no, it's bad. I mean, not horrible, but something we definitely need to address. It's just..." Makes explosion hand gesture and giggles. "Pow, red stars in your face! Never seen that before." He was actually a remarkably competent doctor, but very, very new and excitable. Story 10-0 went to the ER because I was having super realistic hallucinations. The doctor assigned to me couldn't find an explanation for it, so he got the whole team together and managed to figure out it was caused by my heart meds. Needless to say, I stopped taking them. Apparently, it's less than 1% probable to have this symptom. The guy came to me super excited and said, "Thank you. I never thought I'd be able to see symptoms so rare in person. Thank you truly. Also, your symptoms are due to your heart meds, so you should stop taking them." Yes, he said it after thanking me. He was truly overjoyed. I thought my mom was going to punch him. Story 11. I went to the ER in seriously bad abdominal pain. I couldn't explain it since everything was seemingly **** running fine. Scant, but fine. As it turned out, I was still massively backed up, almost to the point of impaction. The doctor, who was a good, goofy guy, said, "Ma'am, sorry to tell you, but your diagnosis is that you're full of shit." I cracked up and said, "How long have you been waiting to use that one on a patient who won't complain?" Him, "Forever. ETA, since people are rightfully confused. I was in so much pain when I got in that they gave me the morphine before the tests were done, so they had no idea I was constipated when they gave me the morphine." Story 12. Not to me, but my mom. I was with my mom when she went to get blood drawn once. She has a lot of anxiety over it because she has tiny baby veins and it's always a nightmare. Phlebotomist comes in and says, "Holy Jesus, Mary and the angels, guide my hand," as she's trying to stick the needle in. I totally lost it because, damn, if you gotta say a prayer beforehand, then this isn't going to be good. It wasn't good. She blew a vein and had to go get someone else to do the blood draw. My mom had the nastiest bruise I've ever seen afterwards. My family now uses that phrase before doing something stupid, where we know the outcome is going to be bad, lol. Story 13. Due to a certain health issue, I drink a lot of water, so I naturally brought a water bottle to this appointment. End of the appointment, and he can't figure out what's wrong but is apologetic about that, and sends me for more testing as well as a referral. So I'm getting up to leave, forget my water bottle, and he simply says, "Young lady, you forgot your vodka." I've seen way too many doctors and heard many wild things, but the way he listened and was respectful followed by this super casual offhand joke destroyed me. Story 14. I had a cystoscopy a couple years back. I go in for the procedure. I'm in the gown on the table, with my feet up in these stirrups. The nurse comes in, gives me a breakdown of what's going to happen. She leaves. A different nurse comes in, lifts the gown, washes the area, puts the gown back down, and then she leaves. I'm now damp, cold, naked from the waist down, laying on my back with my feet in the air, feeling just about as totally exposed and vulnerable as humanly possible. The doctor, whom I'd never met before that moment, comes in. No preamble, no small talk. Says, "Let's see what we've got." Sits down at the foot of the table, lifts the gown and goes, "Yep, that's a penis. I'm going to put a camera in it now. Try to relax." To this day, I honestly can't say whether it was the best bedside manner ever or the worst. In that context, it was maybe the funniest thing anyone's ever said to me, and I will never forget it if I live to 1,000,000,000 years old. Story 15. I was a brand new med-surg nurse and was calling a doc for orders for the first time in my life. I had my S-bar prepped and a small script memorized. I called the doc and got my orders. There was a big push at this time for docs to enter their own orders. I asked him, "You'll put those in?" He shouted, "You have a better chance of seeing your Lord and Savior naked, riding a unicycle on the 4th floor." I was speechless and instinctively said, "What?" He said, "That means no," and hung up. My preceptor was laughing so hard and made me share what he said with the whole nurses' station. He later apologized and didn't know I was new. He was a funny guy after that. Story 16. Walked over to me and checked my pulse after I described what I was there to discuss, namely going off meds cold turkey and unsupervised. After the fact, looked me in the eye and proclaimed, "You're alive. My goodness, you had me scared I was seeing ghosts there. Do not ever do that again." Same doctor, different issue. Me. I'm not sure if this is bad enough to see a doctor about. Him. Well, determining that is different for everyone. But would you like some advice on how to make that call in your specific situation? Me. Sure. Him. The minute you consider maybe calling me, that is a clear sign you should have been here last week, at the latest. I wish I could give you something for your chronic stubbornness, but unfortunately, that doesn't exist, nor would you take it. Story 17. I've had to get a lot of blood work done over the years as I have struggled with pretty severe anemia, and they try to keep an eye on my iron levels and such to see if the treatment is still working. Because the anemia already leaves me occasionally dizzy. When you add getting blood drawn into that, I would get pretty damn dizzy-nosy of the time. To keep me grounded while I was in the chair, I'd have my mom come and she would ask me trivia questions. The last time I went to get blood drawn, the person doing it, not sure of her position, was being silent almost the whole time, which was fine, She wasn't rude, just quiet. Then my mom asked me the question, what animal has the longest tongue relative to its body size? And she suddenly pipes up, hummingbirds! I know this one! The answer is hummingbirds! The complete change in energy was hilarious enough on its own, but the funniest part was when we were leaving the room as another doctor entered and I heard the doctor ask the women, why did I hear you yell hummingbirds in the most befuddled voice? Story 18. I'll preface this by saying my dermatologist is someone who had been seeing me as a patient for many years. We had a very friendly relationship and always did a quick personal life catch-up before he started every examination. So I had a recurring cyst on the inner part of my thigh near my groin. It seemed to come back frequently, even after we thought it was taken care of. The final time I had to have it operated on was Valentine's Day several years ago. So while reclined in the chair, I have my pants and underwear off with my legs wide open. I'm holding my balls to one side while the dermatologist and an assistant cut out the cyst. Because I'm not able to see what's happening, one of my balls keeps escaping from beneath my hand and getting in the way of the dermatologist. He asks me to please pull it back, so I do, and apologize, saying, I'm sorry the two of you have to see that, especially on Valentine's Day. Knowing that I'm single, my dermatologist says, well, at least someone is seeing it today. I laughed so hard they had to stop for a couple of minutes until I could get it under control. I missed that dermatologist. I eventually moved away and actually never got to say goodbye. He wasn't in the office on my last visit. Story 19. I had a weird growth on my penis a few years ago. It turned out to be MRSA related, but I didn't know that at the time. I went to urgent care and I was horrified when the doctor who came to see me was a gorgeous young woman, probably just out of med school. She's examining me, and her nurse is in the room watching because I guess that's a legal requirement in situations like these. The doctor can't diagnose what's wrong with me, so she calls for backup. And it's this older lady doctor, so now the two of them are literally passing my dick back and forth while this nurse is watching, and I'm feeling completely humiliated. And all of a sudden I hear the pretty doctor tell the older doctor, I don't think there would be any benefit to us giving him oral. I must have turned bright red. I knew she meant pills, but I blurted out, you had to say it like that? The older doctor kind of scowled, but the other two quickly turned their heads to try to hide the fact that they both burst out laughing. Story 20. Not said, but shown. I'm female, and my male friend was in the hospital for the third time with ongoing pancreatitis issues. For 3 months, every single doctor had drawn the pancreas as a round or oval-shaped object when explaining the disease or procedures to us. One day, a new doctor walked in and decided to show us medical textbook drawings as she explained the next procedure to us. That was when we learned the pancreas is actually shaped like a penis and testicles. I honestly can't tell you what the doctor said because I was too busy trying not to look at my friend or laugh. The worst part was that we had his very conservative, very Baptist sister on speakerphone so she could hear the treatment plan. When the doctor left, my friend and I started laughing so hard we were crying and wheezing. His sister kept asking what was so funny, and all we could say was, it's a penis. It was unintentional on the doctor's part, but it was a welcome bright spot in a crappy situation. Story 21. I got blood drawn one time at the doctor's, and they told me to hang out for a little while to chat about the results. After 45 minutes of sitting and waiting for someone to come back, I finally go out and ask what is taking so long. Well, no one wanted to say anything to me, and finally they got the doctor who said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're a diabetic. I then proceed to ask him if that's why I've been taking insulin for the last 18 years at the time, and all the nurses started laughing at him. Apparently it was a rough first week on him, and he wasn't great at this. Although annoying, it was pretty funny at the same time. Story 22. I had a back spasm or something like that, and my doctor prescribed me some muscle relaxers and painkillers. Doctor, these drugs will make you drowsy and impaired, so you should avoid drinking and driving while on these. Me, you mean don't drink and drive ever, right? Doctor, yeah, that too. Story 23, Doctor. You're about 2 days from pneumonia. Why didn't you come in sooner? Me, I didn't want to bother you. Doctor, after all these years, you are my best and worst fucking patient. He is also my friend outside of being my primary care physician, which is why he cussed at me and openly displayed his annoyance. But also my reluctance to bother him as he sees a lot of self-diagnosed people with nothing wrong with them. Story 24. It was me that made the nurse laugh. I was having my second ever Pap smear test, I believe, and they said they needed to get the bigger/longer instruments for me as my cervix was super far back. I replied with something like, "Well, I better close my legs for now till you find it or there will be an echo." Poor woman was crying, laughing, and I was too, which made it hard to relax and made us both late for our day. When we were starting, she built hers up to say, "Here we go, go, go."